Hey beautiful booktubers, I'm Becky Bookworm and I'm back finally with another video. I don't think I've made a video since April and it's just been a mixture of things. Some good stuff's happened, some bad stuff's happened, and I've not really been in the mood to make videos. I have still been reading. I'm just going to get comfy. I have still been reading and I have still been doing things, so I'm not going to dwell on the bad. I'm still not feeling fantastic, but I'm feeling a lot better than I have been. So on the upside, good things. I don't have to wear glasses anymore. I went and had an eye test and they had to do my eye test a few times because they were really confused. It turns out that my eyes have somehow got better. How that's happened when I'm in my late 30s, I have no idea. So that's good. So here I am, glasses free, and I don't have to worry about the glare from windows or anything like that, so yay. Other good things, went on holiday, went to my favourite festival, which was Obscene Extreme Festival in the Czech Republic. Had lots of fun, lots of silly dancing, lots of silly music. It was really good. I'll put pictures or a video here, whatever I can find. And then we had a few days afterwards in Prague just to relax. I've been to Prague quite a few times. I quite like the city, mostly because I always go to that festival, but it was really nice to have a few days to relax. We went to the cinema, we had a wander about, we went to a really beautiful, oh there's a wasp, went to a really beautiful cemetery where there was quite a lot of famous people buried. Again, I'll put up some pictures here if you're interested in seeing that. I'm going to actually do a wrap up today. Sorry if I'm wiggling, I'm trying to get comfy, I'm sitting on my bed. Oh, other good thing as well, I'll show you. It's these Lucy and Yak dungarees. If I can find it, I'll put up a picture of me in them there. But they're sort of ethical dungarees from this small independent company. And I'm absolutely loving them. I've got the moss green shorts version, but I plan on getting some longer ones for winter because they are comfy. And I've even started wearing them to work, and I work in an office that's meant to be smart casual, but I've just been wearing them anyway because why not? Life's too short to be told what you've got to wear. I'll start rambling now. I did start Dracula, if you remember me holding up a really pretty copy that I got, that my stepmum bought me. I just couldn't get on with it. It's really embarrassing because I absolutely love the film Dracula. I was like gothy when I was growing up, obsessed with vampires. I still really like them to this day. Love a good vampire story. Really struggled to get through Bram Stoker's Dracula, the book, not the film. I love the film, that's easy to get through. But yeah, I don't know if it's the language that's used or what, but I've tried and tried. I'm almost at the end now, but I just found it tiring and a little bit boring. It's not as good as the film, which I feel like is proper sacrilege saying, being a bookworm and all, but yeah, I just didn't feel it at all. So I've kind of I've actually DNF'd it, so oops. The Passage by Justin Cronin. I did this buddy read with the lovely Mel. I will link her channel up or below, one or the other. And it was a beast of a book. I think it was about 900 or maybe 1,000 pages. But I love the story. It's set in, I think, 3 different time zones. It's just set in 3 different times, but it's one story that goes all the way through. And I really liked how they did that. I don't want to spoil it, and I don't know how much is widely known, but starts off as there's a virus that's spreading through people. It's because of these testing and these experiments that they've done on these, what are they called? Inmates. God, I can't speak today. It's because of they've been doing these testing and messing around with these inmates, making them sign their life away, and it goes from there. And it's just wonderful. I really enjoyed all the characters and not knowing why certain characters were important and and why they were in the story, but knowing that if they were there it was probably for good reason, and there was just some weird stuff going on, and it was almost like 3 books in one, like 3 completely separate stories. I got around to reading Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shona Maguire and wasn't as impressed with this one. Really enjoyed the first 2 books, but this one, it was okay, but I'm starting to feel like there should be more. Like, they're very short novellas and I feel like there should just be more. I didn't feel like it was rounded out enough. So while I did enjoy it, I think it could have been better if they'd just added more content into the book and fleshed things out a little bit more. History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I really loved this story. It's the first Adam Silvera book that I've read. So there's a boy that's died. The first love of his life is obviously distraught and it focuses on him, but it also focuses on the guy he was seeing when he died. They end up meeting and forming, I don't even know if I should say it's a friendship really, but they find solace with each other, and it's about how they both get through their grief and what happens with that. And I just thought it was a really interesting story. I was worried it was going to be too sad, and while it was sad, I also found that it was just so entertaining and I was so engrossed in the characters, so I think I'll be reading more of his stuff. Furiously Happy by Jenny Dawson. I've had this on my shelf for absolutely ages. This is a non-fiction told by, it's just lots of stories from Jenny. She suffers from depression and a few other things, and it's just about how she gets through her life with all these, and she exists alongside them rather than trying to bury them. That's the take I had on it. And she makes it work for her, and how she gets through the darkest times in her life. And I feel like I shouldn't be saying it, but it's bloody hilarious. She is a great writer. The way she writes about even the most heartbreaking of things will even bring a smile to your face. I don't know, I haven't come across her before. Next graphic novel, Welcome Back, Volume 1, Help I'm Alive, and this, I'm looking at my Goodreads, by Christopher Sabella. See, apparently I gave this 3 stars, but I can't remember it, so it's obviously not amazing. I remember that now. I found it a bit confusing. So it was, these people sort of get woken up when they're at a certain point in their life, and they remember that they're this person who has had loads of past lives before them, and there's an eternal war going on. And yeah, I think I gave it 3 stars because I found it a little bit confusing. There was a lot of back and forth and people being in different bodies, and it was alright. That was a shit review on it, sorry guys. Turn a Blind Eye by Vicky Newham. This is a police whodunit about somebody who is killing people from a school, and we mostly follow a policewoman called Di Rahman. We learn a bit about her life and why she does the things she does, and also we're trying to figure out who is bumping off people at this school and why. And I thought it was pretty good. It was quite an entertaining read. I wasn't bowled over by it by any means, but it was fun. The Mermaid's Sister by Carrie Ann Noble. I really love this. My friend Rin lent me this ages ago and I just haven't got round to it. And it's sort of whimsical tale about a girl who's, well, like it says, a girl whose sister is slowly turning into a mermaid, and that's all we know. Everyone seems to be taking it in their stride, and there's the boy that she loves, but that boy loves the mermaid sister, and what they're doing to try and get the sister to water, and they go off on a bit of an adventure. And it's just really good, like I said, whimsical. The characters, you know, when you feel like you really know characters and you know how they're going to react and that sort of thing. I just thought it was really good, and I think I'll probably read more by that author because it was a bit of a pick-me-up that I needed at the time. If you're feeling a bit down, that is definitely the way to go. Next is another graphic novel. I read Neonomicon by Alan Moore. I'm really not sure about this one. I did enjoy it. It's a standalone graphic novel, so I don't want to give you too much, but how to explain it? It's kind of a monster tale, and these people are in this cult and they're trying to raise this monster. Now the story is really good. I was really enjoying it, and then there's a pretty brutal rape scene in it, and I didn't like that bit at all. I didn't realise there was going to be one in there, and yeah, it kind of put me off it a bit. I mean, it was a standalone, I finished reading it, so it didn't put me off that much, but I just didn't like it. I don't know if that needed to be in there, Maybe it did, I don't know, maybe I'm being overly sensitive, but I didn't like it and that made me down mark that book. But the story around that was fine, but I feel like they could still have written the same story without that being in there. Snot Girl Volume 1, all these graphic novels, I didn't buy them, they were actually loaned to me by a friend, so that's good. We've had a bit of a swapsy, I've lent her loads and she's lent me loads. Snot Girl Volume 1, Green Hair, Don't Care. I wouldn't have picked this up on my own because I've heard really mixed things online about it, but it was pretty good. I quite liked it. She's not the most likeable of characters. Oops, did a burp. She's not the most likeable of characters, but the story's pretty good and I'm interested to see where it goes. She is an internet influencer, I guess like a YouTuber kind of deal, but her and all her friends are just not nice people at all, which I think is probably why people struggle to get through it, because they're just not the dicks basically. But I like where the story went and it took a bit of a weird turn and still don't know what's going on, so I'll probably borrow the next one as well and see what that's like. Finally got round to reading another Daphne du Maurier and read the Jamaica Inn and loved it. I don't think I loved it as much as Rebecca, but it is a really good book. So atmospheric. I did struggle, I read this one on holiday and I did struggle reading it in 30-degree heat because it's set on, I think again it's set on the moors or in the middle of nowhere, and there's this Jamaica Inn which used to be a lovely pub where travellers would go, they'd stop on the way to places, but since this guy and his wife took over, nobody goes there. Everyone whispers about it and knows it's dodgy. And we come at this story from the side of one of the relatives of the wife. Her mum dies, I think, and she goes to live with them, and the guy, the husband, is just horrible and does dodgy dealings, and there's stuff that goes on at the Jamaica Inn at night that she's told that she can't be awake for, and it's all a bit weird and a bit dark and a bit gross. But yeah, I really love this. So atmospheric. The characters were really, they made my skin crawl, some of the characters in this, and the story was just really compelling. Ooh! Then, when I got back from my holiday, I had the new release from Becky Chambers waiting for me. A Record of a Spaceborne Few. I have been waiting so long for this that I just binged it. And again, I know I feel like I'm saying this a lot to every book, but I wasn't disappointed. It was so good to be back in the Wayfarer's world. It was like getting a little cuddle from something really familiar. And whilst there isn't really the same characters from the other books. Like Ash is mentioned like a few times because some of it follows some of his relatives, and it follows the people that are on the living ships that are called Exodons, I think. They basically originally fled from Earth and lived in these ships, and it was set up, and it's all very much recycle, reuse, mend, and they have to cope with living on this ship, and they've only got what they've got. They've accepted some help from outside alien races, and it's about how they cope with that. And something that I really wasn't expecting was it focuses on how people deal with grief and the rituals around death quite a lot. And I was there for it. It was really good. I really enjoyed the way it went, and the fact that rather than it being one long story, there was a little bit of an arc going through it, but we followed different families from the ship, and it was mostly just going about the mundane daily life really, but it wasn't mundane. The way Becky Chambers has written it, it was just really wonderful. The only thing I'm not pleased about is that now I've read it already and I'm going to have to wait until she writes another book to be back in that world again. We're nearly done now, guys. Thank you for sticking with me. The next one is Past Mortems, Life and Death Behind Mortuary Doors by Carla Valentine. Another non-fiction. Carla Valentine was a mortician, and she talks about her life from beginning to what was present day when she published the book. It's mostly based around her work life with a few personal bits thrown in. Again, like Record of a Spaceborne Few, talked about death and grief. I'm quite interested in that at the moment, and I'm interested in the death positive movement, and Carla Valentine seems to be part of that, and it was really good to read about the processes and what happens and what you do have to have and what you don't have to have, and you know, all the stuff around it. Although I did have a friend message me when I posted up a picture of the book on Instagram to tell me that actually Carla Valentine has been known to be quite fat shamey, which I didn't realise at the time, and that's a real shame. I haven't read up on it yet. I will be doing so because I don't really want to buy any more of her books if that is the case, because don't fat shame people. How hard is that? Finally, I read Fatale Volume 1 again. Again, this was loaned from my friend. This was the story of Joanna, and she has this weird effect on men. They all seem to fall in love with her very easily, and there's something not quite right about her. As the title would suggest, it is quite film noir-y, and it's creepy as anything. I don't really want to say any more. Again, I don't want to spoil the story, but I'm excited to read. I think I've got another 4 volumes of that, so I'm excited to see where that goes. So that's it from me for a wrap up. Sorry I've rambled on for a bazillion years, but at least I've made a video, eh? I'll be back hopefully soon with another video. Big hugs. Bye!